Hello and welcome to an update on my Let's Play Skyrim with the Requiem mod. It's been a while since Chapter 1 ended, and I wanted to take a moment to go over what I've been up to since then. Besides Halloween and being sick, which I still am, but I'm mostly recovered. You might notice my deeper than normal voice. So, I got a new graphic card, the Nvidia 980, which has given me a lot more VRAM breathing room for all my texture mods, which has increased my stability a lot. It's also given me the opportunity to install an ENB, which I have been asked non-stop since I started this Let's Play to install. I also changed the way I record the Let's Play. I no longer record on the system itself, but rather using an external capture device called the AverMedia ExtremeCap U3, which records to another PC. This enables me to use all the mods I want without having to worry about the recording performance overhead. It also lets me record 1080p at 60 frames per second without having to use Shadowplay, which didn't work so well with my editor, if you remember my earlier episodes with all the audio lag and stuff. Speaking of 1080p, 60 frames per second, this video has been uploaded in that format because that seems to be all the rage on YouTube right now. So, I didn't want to get left out of that. I'm curious what your thoughts are on the subject. Do any of you even watch these videos in 1080p? I have arranged a few saved games with different locations to showcase what the new mods and the ENBs look like. As I load the save games, I'll just kind of chat a little bit about what I'm seeing, what I like, and maybe what I don't. So please leave your comments and suggestions below. I haven't finalized the mod list yet, and I'm still testing for stability, so things may change. I may revert back if something doesn't work out right. There leaves a lot to be tested still. So, with that said, let's go exploring. Isn't all that epic music in the background of the loader? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so this first one we're going to look at here is, I believe, Riften at night, maybe? I didn't actually see what I loaded before I loaded. Okay, so here's Riften at night. And so you kind of get a feel for... Oh, while I'm doing this, I'm also going to put the frames per second up in the corner, so you can see kind of what I'm having to use. So most of the time it's 60 or around there. It does dip sometimes. I think with the ENB it's almost impossible to not have it dip sometimes. So this is a foggy night here in Riften, and kind of a perfect opportunity to kind of just see how this ENB looks. I'm a big fan of the lights. I use elemental lights and effects now instead of realistic lighting. And I'm actually been pretty happy with it. This looks really good. This is Project ENB. And I think it's like a fantasy preset or a cinematic preset, one of those. Kind of gives everything a more vivid color. I really like how the light kind of just shines off of there and looks just very, like a very warm light. It looks just great. And you can kind of see, just how the lighting works against the fog. And you'll notice that light there is another mod I added, which was the light posts or something of Skyrim. And the main reason I added that was because I didn't want to make things too dark, because the problem when you record is that everything gets a little bit darker sometimes. So I wanted to avoid you, the audience, not being able to see what I am recording. So I tried to add a little bit more light in there in a way that made sense. You can just really see how the light's off. And just as a comparison, I'll turn off the ENB here. And you can kind of just see how everything looks. Now, one of the big things I love about not using ENB is how sharp everything looks. It's the only bad part about the ENB is you get all those great kind of contrasting effects, and the lights look much better, and the coloring a little better. But the clarity, it's just so much better without it. And so I'm not entirely certain I should be using an ENB. However, the effect has been growing on me. So once again, with the ENB and without. Alright, well, let's advance the time up a little bit and kind of see what it looks like, you know, maybe later on in the day. Riften is one of those places that looks really great during the day. Apparently still foggy. Guess there won't really be anything we can do about that. But you can kind of see here the different colors of the trees and everything. It looks really good. I was hoping to get this a daytime thing, but it looks like the weather is not cooperating here today. So we won't be able to see it without the fog. Once again, fog looks really good. I added some mods for better volumetric fog, so you kind of really get that effect. Now you'll notice my frame rate's kind of dropping here. I think Riften's just one of those places where it just tends to drop. Still not that bad. I can't really feel the difference between 55 and 60 very much. But at these kind of heavily wooded areas, you can see that drop there, but only in certain parts. Again, if I turn off the ENB, you notice everything is a solid 60. It's just the flat power of the GTX 980. It's just a really good card. Still a little bit of drop there, but for the most part, very solid. So that's the other advantage not using the ENB, is everything's very just flat 60 frames. It rarely will ever drop except on certain parts where it was just the Skyrim engine just did it badly. Okay, let's check out what else we got here. We got let's go to Valkyrie tonight. Now this is going to demonstrate kind of a clear night, a nice crisp night setting as opposed to the foggier night that we saw in Riften. So, this is with and enabled. Kind of notice I get a drop here in some places, but you really do see, again, the warm lighting, everything that kind of comes with an ENB. Beautiful night. Here's with it turned off. Again, everything's very flat, but very crisp. Very warm. The lighting works much better. Just looks great. And so one thing also I turned off on the ENB was depth of field. I don't think I have it on there. Yeah, no depth of field. And the reason I turned that off is the performance loss was noticeable. I was dropping below 60 more often, so I decided not to use it. And I loaded dynamic depth of field. Oh, look, and we've been treated with some rain. So you can kind of see how the rain effect is with Project ENB. It looks pretty good. I really like the downpours. They look really nice. But overall, very generally happy with the way things are here. Which is why I'm spending a lot of time testing, because this is kind of my release idea. Like, this is where I want to come back with, if everything tests okay. So, yes, very nice effect. One thing you notice, I replaced the fences. One of the big complaints I have with the ENB is I think the anti-aliasing is not as good as the hardware anti-aliasing I can do. This is really demonstrated here by looking at just the distance. You see that like lantern up there? It kind of flickers a little bit. And, you know, unless you're looking, you're not really going to be noticing this kind of stuff. There is some anti-aliasing going on here, but again, to keep it as close to 60 frames per second, I don't have it nearly as aggressive as I could. And that lantern up there, you can kind of see it. If I turn off the ENB and I use hardware anti-aliasing, then it looks definitely much more sharper. And again, if you turn off the ENB, everything looks sharper anyways. So again, it's one trade-off for another. I don't think it detracts too much, and I think actually on the YouTube upload quality, it probably hacks enough of the quality that it, you know, not really losing there. So that's why I installed these fences, as opposed to the Skyrim mesh overhaul ones, where it was kind of that entwined stuff. And that is because this flickers less, to be honest. So I don't have to just see it just blaring in my face. Alright. let's see what else we got here. So we've seen some night skies, we've seen some daytime foggy. So let's go to Dawnstar during the day. Let's kind of show us some of the how everything looks in the snow, you know, because half the game takes place in the snow, and show you the water mod. Because when I decided to go with ENB, I installed what I would consider a lot of its best supporting mods. And so this meant moving away from the water mod I was using to water, W.A.T.E. And it had this cool effect you can add the waves in there, which I thought was pretty nice. But here it is in Warstock. Is that? Nah, you made me think you're a Warstock. And you can see it looks really good. I actually really... oh, sorry about that. This looks really good, and I'm really pleased with this. I really like the way this looks. So it looks like it's snowing a little bit. He's just chilling on his boat there. Notice it kind of bobs in the water a little bit. That's because of the mod. Looks pretty good. So this is what we're looking like for the outside. Again, frame rates can really take a hit sometimes. Mostly stays within about 5 frames per second, which is really acceptable to me. Previous to having this card, I would dip a lot less. A lot more. I would dip down to the 40s, which I rarely ever see with the configuration as I have it now. And again, this is without the depth of field. So, hit 50 there. It's been as low as I'd like to get. I really don't want to dip anything below 50, but it's just for little periods of time. And that's just due to all the little... There's just a lot of things in the Skyrim engine that brings out this kind of bad frame behavior. But overall, really impressed with this. I really like the way this is looking. Okay, so now we've seen a variety of outdoor mods. Let's end this by looking inside a dungeon. So you'll see this is the inside of Bleak Falls Sanctuary, I believe, the lower part of Bleak Falls Barrow. And I've frozen my friends in time there so that they don't bother us. But you can see very impressive lighting in here. Kind of definitely gives it that fuzzy, warm feeling. Really liking the lighting. Looks really good. And indoors, I'm mostly going to stay at 60 frames per second. It's just those really nice, complicated outdoor scenes that really drops. You know, I did install another mod called Clutter. Indoor dungeon clutter or whatever. So I'm not sure really what to expect for that, or if it applies to dungeons I've already been in. But when I moved to the ENB, I had to put a lot of support mods in and really change up everything so it was all encompassing. But either way, I really like it. You notice, hopefully it comes across as bright as I'm hoping it does. While dark dungeons are really nice for immersion when you're playing, having an audience changes that. And I didn't want the dungeons to be too dark, because by the time YouTube gets its hands on it, it really makes it dark. And then you can't... and then you really can't see what's going on. So, that's no fun for anyone. Ow. Well, that kind of hurt. And it's a little bit of running here for 60 frames per second. Fun. But you notice everything looks really smooth, and it feels real smooth. There's still some other ones. I might like maybe some of the fire FX stuff where they really make good-looking fire. And nice little halo effects going on there. Also, some of my spells look a little weird with the ENB. Like mage armor, I think? You notice it kind of has that little orange tinge to it. Yeah, not bad looking. Just definitely changes it up a little bit. So those are some of the things I've noticed. I hope everybody has enjoyed this video. I'm curious to know what everybody thinks. Did you like it the way it was before? Because I have everything saved the way it was before, so I can just go back in an instant. Or do you really like the way this looks and like the new direction in the mods and the lighting choices and the use of the ENB? Also, I'd like to yeah, that's it. So let me know what you think, and I'm going to leave it at that.